fun routine that you can do, especially if you kind of bill yourself as a motivational speaker or somebody who helps people deal with stress or anxiety. This is kind of a really fun routine to do. You're going to need your Evoke deck, and you're also going to need a double blank card. Now, because these cards are printed from the USCC playing card company, just a regular double blank card from any magic shop will match the Evoke deck perfectly. The other thing you're going to need is, in a pocket that's accessible, you're going to have another card. Now, you don't want it to be one of the cards from your Evoke deck, so I tend to use the indecision card, or one of the cards that are just used, you know, for a couple of different routines that aren't part of the deck. And you want to have that in a pocket that's accessible. Okay, and the setup is to have that in a pocket, and this makes a great opener. You have to have the double blank card in the deck, and you want to have it second from the top. Okay, and what I like to do is I like to make sure that there's like 2 or 3 positive emotions at the top. So we've got a positive emotion, double blank card, a couple of positive emotions. That's it. So like I say, this makes a great opener because you do need to have this set up. So you're going to start off by bringing out these cards and introducing them as miniature motivational posters. And you're going to show the other side. Notice when I spread, by the way, there, I'm pushing off a block. I don't want them to see this double blank card. So I push off a block as I show the backs of the cards. And then I turn over and I show the fronts, and I point out they've all got different emotions on them. But when I spread, I don't want them to see that this blank card's here. So when I spread, I keep those bottom cards together so that they're not going to see that blank card. So in essence, you're spreading face down like this, and then you're turning over and you're spreading like this to show the cards. Okay. You're now going to double undercut the bottom card to the top, because that card really is just there as a cover card. So you're going to cut that card to the top. So you're going to get a break above it with your thumb, kick cut half the cards over into your left hand, put this packet on top, keeping the break, and then, so you've got the break there, and then undercut half the cards under the break, and then the rest of the cards. So in essence, all you're doing is you're moving this cover card from the bottom to the top. You could just say, now all of these have got different emotions on them, and just take it and put it to the top, but you need this double blank card here. Now before you go any further, you're going to say, by the way, I did remove one emotion from this deck, and I put it into my pocket. I'm not going to show you what that emotion is. We'll put it back there, we'll get back to it later on. So you put that up there, or into whichever pocket you're going to use. Now you have them pick a negative an emotion that they don't like feeling, an emotion that they never want to feel, and you're going to tell them how to deal with that emotion if it ever happens in their life. So you go through and you have them call out an emotion. Let's say they're really an angry person, so they say rage. Now that is, by the way, why you've got some positive emotions at the end, because when you see serenity, you can take, if they take ages to say a negative emotion, when you get to sincerity, you can say, well, there's no more negative emotions, you know, can you pick one, and you can go back. But to be honest, 99 times out of 100, by the time you get there, somebody will have called that a negative emotion. So you've got rage here, right? Now, what you're going to do, and this is very, very important, is once they've taken rage out, you can have a conversation with them. You can talk to them about rage. Do you ever feel angry? You know, whatever you want to say. And as you're doing that, you're going to double undercut the bottom 2 cards to the top. So in other words, a blank card and a cover card. So you just riffle at the back of the deck, get a break above 2, kick cut half the cards over into the left hand, kiss the packets together, undercut half the cards, undercut the rest. So now you've got that blank card there underneath the face card of the packet. And then you turn everything over, all right? Now, that all happens while you're talking to them about their decision. You're now going to get a break above the bottom card with your thumb. So you get a break above the bottom card, not both cards, just the bottom card, not the double blank. And you're going to go through the cards with your left hand. You're going to deal them into your hand one at a time, and you're going to have them say stop wherever they want to have that rage card return. Now they're going to say stop maybe about there, it doesn't really matter. The card gets put back here, and this is an interesting control. All you're going to do is you're going to go to, like, put this packet on top of this packet, But the second that you come across, you drop that card below the break, and you go, actually, let's just bury it further down into the pack. And all you've done is you've added one card onto Rage. So now Rage is not on top, it's second from top, and it looks like this. It's like, right, okay, so put your Rage card back there. Fantastic, we're going to bury it in the middle. Actually, we'll put it further down. So they still think this is Rage. Now, all I do is I just push that into the middle of this packet. Okay, so that gets pushed into the middle of this packet. And then so the Rage is actually here, okay? And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to put this packet into the middle of this packet, okay? So it looks like you've just lost it into the pack. In reality, you now have Rage at the top, and you now have the double blank card somewhere near the middle. And it's a really nice way to control that card to the top, whilst at the same time center the double blank card. And then you talk about, that's a negative emotion that you can relate to, and I want to imagine trying to get rid of it. I want to actually visualize getting rid of that negative emotion, taking it and pushing it away so that it's never seen again. I really want you to do that. And then all you're going to do is you're just going to spread through and say, let's see how you've done. And now you spread through, and they see this blank card, and you say, well, that was great visualization. You actually visualized really pushing that card away completely. Let's have a look. You take this card out, and it's blank on both sides. And then you square up, and you say, well, can you look at the cards and tell me if Rage is gone? And all you're going to do is palm the top card of the packet off. So you just come over, Vernon's topping the deck, palm the top card of the deck off as you hand them the cards. Now, this is a great time to palm the card because everyone's attention's here. They think the thing's already happened. So you palm it and they look through and they'll say, yeah, Rage is gone. And you go, well, look, you actually visualized getting rid of that emotion forever. Now, there's two ways to go here. You could end it. In the past, I haven't done anything with this card and I've ended here. And it's quite a nice moment where they picked a negative emotion and that emotion has just vanished from the pack and turned blank. But if you want to do what I do these days, I say, now the thing is, you never could have picked Rage. Because do you remember I said that I had a card up here in my pocket from the beginning? And all I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the palmed card and I'm going to go into the pocket, loading that palmed card. And instead of pulling out the card I showed at the beginning, I'm going to show the one that was in my palm. I say, well, you never could have picked Rage. Because remember this card that was in my pocket the whole time? You're not going to believe it, but that was Rage. I actually took it out of this pack before we even began. And it's kind of like a real kind of what moment. Really gets a great reaction. It's kind of a very strange moment. So it's up to you how you actually finish with it. You could have that finale like I do, or absolutely, you could just have that moment where the card turns blank on both sides. You've just palmed Rage out, you just dump it in your pocket, and you give them that as a souvenir, and you're left with all of these cards to do whatever you want to. It's totally up to you. Either way you go with it, it's quite an interesting premise. So that's another routine with the Evoke deck. We're going to move on now with something else. Okay, so I've got to be honest with you, this is a routine that I've never actually performed in a real world situation. This was designed for social media. I specifically designed this for a particular thing, not for me, for a client that was being done on social media. And there's no reason why this wouldn't work in the real world, but if you're a social media magician and you want to do something with this deck that is really cool, this is, it's great. It's a series of color changes, really. Let me perform it for you. So what I have here is I have some motivational posters. Now you can get these from shops, they're miniature motivational posters. And each one of them has an emotion on. Some of them are negative emotions, some of them are positive emotions. I'm going to take a negative emotion that I think a lot of people can relate to. Let's go to anxiety, because anxiety, I have to be honest with you, is something that everybody faces. If you're a performer, you normally are getting anxious performing on stage. Walking out on stage is something that provides anxiety. If you're a student and you're about to take your exams, you're probably anxious. A lot of people get anxious all of the time in day-to-day life. So I'm going to try and use this deck of cards to tell you what you should do to deal with your anxiety. And there's a thing called neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP. And I don't want to get too heavy into this, but basically what it says, NLP says you should shrink that problem down. So if you're feeling anxious all the time, you should imagine your anxiety and literally try to visualize having that anxiety shrunk down. A little bit like this. If you imagine that anxiety shrunk down, it would end up looking a lot smaller than it actually is, and it becomes more manageable. So if you can't walk out on stage, if you can't perform, if you can't leave the house because you're anxious, it makes it a lot more manageable. The problem is, and a lot of people don't realize this, you have to do this every single day. Because if you don't do it every single day, it will return, and sometimes return worse than ever before. So if I don't do this every single day, my anxiety will be just as bad as it was before. So every single day, you need to think about this stuff. It's why when people talk about positive thinking, when people talk about positive affirmations, it's something you should do every day. I've got a friend called Jo Howarth. She's a happiness coach, and she talks about every single day, at the end of every single day, reminding yourself what you should feel thankful for. Because if you do that every single day, then what's going to happen is you will be able to shrink down your anxiety every single day. But the problem is, and this is a problem, if you don't do it every single day, your anxiety will return way worse than ever before. So the question then becomes, is there a way to eliminate anxiety completely? Well, the answer is yes. All you have to do is think positive. If you think positive thoughts, then that anxiety will disappear, never to be seen again. You'll end up being ecstatic, not negative. You'll end up being positive because you've pushed that anxiety away. It's gone away into your pocket where you can keep it and never worry about it ever again. So it's a fun thing to kind of do as a social media video, but in essence, it's a series of color changes that link the anxiety and the shrunken anxiety card down, and it's a really fun thing to do. So let me perform this, explain it to you. All you're going to need is, very, very simply, so you're going to need your anxiety card, you're going to need your shrunken anxiety card, and ideally you want to have some positive emotions on top. Let's have confident, let's have fearless, let's have ecstatic, let's have joyful. There's some positive ones on top. Your anxiety card goes down into the middle, okay? And then the shrunken anxiety card goes on top. So you start off by showing these motivational poster cards face down, and when you're turning them face up, you're going to do the Browie reversal, which I've talked about a few times on this project. Now, the problem with the Browie reversal is it separates this card away from those positive cards, which isn't a problem too much because, to be honest, it doesn't matter if that last card that shows up is a negative or a positive card. If you want to make sure that those positive cards stay on top, though, you have to turn the whole pack over and do a half pass. Because that way, that card will be reversed at the bottom and those positive emotions will stay on top. So it depends on how important it is for you that a positive emotion hits at the very end, because if you absolutely want that to hit at the very end, you're going to have to do a half pass. If you want to do the Browie reversal, I've already explained it on the project. If you want to do a half pass, very simply, the half pass is you hold the deck face up, you're going to pull down on the bottom card, and it is literally, look at my forefinger curls underneath, and it literally just turns that card over underneath the pack. That's all I'm doing. I'm pulling down with my little finger on one card, and I'm using my forefinger to curl that card around. Now, the reason it's not seen is because I cover from the right-hand packet. I cover from the right-hand side with my thumb and the back of my hand. So I hold the packet like this, and I do the half pass like that, okay? And I like to do a kind of a twist. It's called a crisp twist. I do a crisp twist as I do that, which kind of the large motion of that twist hides the smaller motion of the move. So it's completely up to you. The other thing that you could do, if you wanted to, is you could have that card reversed at the top from the beginning. It's totally up to you. But what I like to do is a Browie reversal or a half pass. So if I'm doing the half pass, I show them face down, I turn them over, I do the half pass. As I point out, they're all motivational posters. And I talk about how there's positive and negative emotions. And I say, let's take a negative emotion that a lot of people can relate to, anxiety. And when I get to the anxiety card, I just take it out. Now, all I'm going to do is put that card face down at the bottom of the packet, turn everything over, and I'm going to make it look like I've shrunk that down. And I'm going to use a color change called the Erdnase change. Now let me explain what's happening here. It looks like this. It's very, well, let me show you. It's very deceptive. It looks like you just do that and it shrinks down. Now let me explain what's happening here. What you're going to do is you're going to push, your fingers are going to come over and push that top card forward like that. Now when you do that, you're actually exposing the next card underneath. So you push this card forward, your whole hand comes forward, and then the Mound of Venus here pulls this card back. Now you'll notice when this card gets pulled back, it's going to clear here, and you'll hear a click when it does. So look, you push forward, your hand goes forward, the Mound of Venus pulls it back. I can hear that click, I know it's gone back. Now I'm going to bring this hand forward again, because this card is now out from underneath here, bringing that card forward with it. But as I do that, my forefinger of my left hand is going to pull that card flush with the packet. So you've got this whole situation here where you show the anxiety card and you shrink it down. And this card is switching for this card, right? So you say, hey, you just need to focus on visualizing having that anxiety shrink down. And that's a really nice visual moment there. Now, once you've done that, you wait a beat and then you turn the double over and deal it onto the table. So because this is a double lift here, and you turn the two cards over and you deal that card to the table, the normal anxiety card is going back onto the table, okay? Now, you turn this deck over and you can either do a Bowery reversal, but that way you're not going to guarantee having a positive card appear at the end, or, like I said before, you can do the half pass, okay? And you can turn the deck over and do the half pass. Everyone's attention is on there when you're turning the deck over, and everyone's attention's there, and you talk about how you have to do this every day, else your anxiety will return, and you turn the card over and you show that it's now the normal sized anxiety card again. Now, you put this underneath the packet and you're going to repeat the trick. So the second time you do exactly the same thing. You do another Erdnase change like that, shrinking it down, and then you deal that card onto the table like that. So you're actually dealing anxiety onto the table. Now, at this point, you need to get rid of this little anxiety card. So I'm going to double undercut the top two cards to the bottom as I'm talking to the audience. So I get a break underneath the top two cards. I hold that break with my thumb. I undercut the bottom half. I undercut half of the cards at the bottom, put them to the top, and then the rest of the cards. That brings that anxiety card there, second from the face. We don't need that anymore. And then I turn over here and I show this has turned back to anxiety. Now, all I'm going to do, we've still got a couple of positive cards here, right? So all we're going to do now is at this point on the offbeat, because I've just seen that change, that's the offbeat. On the offbeat, I'm going to come back and palm the top card of the pack. Okay, so I'm just going to come back and palm the top card of the pack like that. And all I'm doing is I'm coming over and my fingers here are pushing that card into palm. And I hold the deck, keeping this hand looking natural. Rather than this hand being like that, my hand looks natural because it's holding the deck. And then I move this hand out the way and I use this hand here, with this pack here, I use it to pick up the anxiety card. So the anxiety card is now on top. And then I come over, drop this card on top and then lift up the outer end and riffle, which covers this card getting dropped on top. So the whole thing like that is here. I just shown the anxiety card. I pick it up. I do that. I've loaded it on top. Okay? Which means that I can now do a rub-a-dub-dub vanish and show that the card really has gone. So the rub-a-dub-dub vanish really simply is you're just going to well, let me go through it for you. It looks like this. It looks very deceptive. So what's going to happen is the top card, which they think is anxiety, is going to be side jogged to the right. And I put the edge of the right hand card onto the table. Now all the left thumb is going to do is pull that card back like that. So you're just going to pull that card back. But they don't see this action happening because the right hand comes over. You want it to look like that. You want it to look like the right hand is pushing that card down onto the table. So the right hand comes over like this, and my left hand comes out the way, and done correctly, it really looks like I've left that card underneath my hand. It looks very deceptive, right? So I just do this, and I show it's gone. And I can show that I've got fearless here, which is obviously a positive emotion. And I can leave that down in the middle of the deck, which means that on the top now I've got anxiety. And if I want to reproduce anxiety like I did in the routine that I showed you earlier, I can just use the offbeat to palm that top card off, and I can just reach into my pocket and I can pull out the palmed card, and I can say that that's locked away where I can't get to it. And basically what we have here is just a really fun visual series of color changes, but done with kind of a mental health script to it, and these cards are absolutely perfect to be able to do that. And it's also a really nice use of that anxiety card. Now, if you want to be left with a regular pack to go into whatever, you need to get rid of that anxiety card. So I would double undercut the bottom two cards to the top, like that. And then I can palm off the top card, put the rest there, give them to be shuffled, and I can go into another routine and I can ditch this card. So there you go, that's NLP. It's a really fun routine, perfect for social media. Okay, so I'm going to perform this for you, and then we'll talk about exactly what's going on. I've got the Evoke deck, and I took the liberty of separating these cards out into positive emotions and negative emotions. There are 13 positive emotions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and there's 13 negative emotions as well. 13 positive emotions, 13 negative emotions. And I want to talk about the importance of positivity. I think that's a very important thing to talk about, because you're going to meet lots of people in your life, and some of the people that you meet are you're going to maybe form a relationship with. Maybe there'll be a colleague, maybe there'll be a friend, maybe you end up getting married to somebody, you never know. And so I want to talk about spreading positivity to everybody you meet, and we're going to use these especially people who are down. Have you ever met people in your life who maybe they're just negative? You know, you just feel like they're very negative people, and they're just never happy for whatever reason. I'm going to talk about what you can do to make those people happier and make those people more happy and merry, right? Okay, let's take these negative emotions first of all, and we're gonna count them to make sure there's 13. So we've got 1, 2, 3. If you were here, you would actually count them yourself, but I'll do it because I don't have anyone here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 positive emotions, and obviously 13 negative emotions. Now what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and show you how you can actually spread positivity to somebody who's thinking really negatively. So pretend these 13 cards are somebody who's just really negged out, really just not happy with life, right? And I'm walking around and I'm really happy. I'm just happy all the time. I've only got happy thoughts. This is what I would do. I would think about all of those happy thoughts, all of those happy. Let's say I want to spread a bit of love and make it like that. Spread a bit of joy and make it like that. Spread a bit of merriment. I'd spread it like that. It almost looks like magic. You see, we had 13 positive cards. Now, if I count through, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3 have gone. And if we look over here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And if you remember, I said I wanted to spread a bit of joy, a bit of merriment, and a bit of love. And that's because over here now, amongst all of these negative emotions, we've got love, we've got merry, and we've got joyful, which is amazing. But it's more than just that. It's more than just thinking positively and sending positive thoughts to people. It's more than just that. There's more to it as well. Let me show you what I mean. We've got all of these positive emotions, And I would ask the spectator at this point, is the one that they can really identify with more than any other. And let's say they say patience. They really love patience. Okay. Fantastic, that's great. They really, really, really love patience. So we've got all of these negative emotions, and we've got patience that you chose. And this patience card would get shuffled into all of the positive emotions. So we're going to take that patience card and we're going to put it right there amongst all of the positive emotions. And then you know what we'll do? We'll take just the negative cards. These cards we don't need, we're going to put them away. We'll take all of the positive cards and put them away. We'll just have the negative emotions. Now let's see what we can do. Because if we focus on that one positive emotion, if we focus on patience and we focus really, really hard, we can send that positivity over to that really negative person, and they will start exhibiting that emotion as well. But not only that, if we keep doing that every single day, what will happen is that person will end up feeling positive, and they will end up not being that negative person, will end up being that positive person, and they will be as happy with life as you are. So there you go. It's a bit of a cheesy presentation, it's a bit of a cheesy script. I totally am aware of that, but honestly, if you're booked to do anything to do with mental health or anything to do with motivational speaking, this is worth its weight in gold. And it's very simple to do. The second phase is actually the finale to the ambitious card routine I showed you earlier on. The first phase is a very simple cards across that's based on Paul Harris's Las Vegas Leaper. So all you do is you take out your negative and positive cards and you separate them. But when you do separate them, you know, I left love in there by accident, that was my bad. It didn't affect the trick now. When you take out your negative, your positive cards, you either remember the 3 cards on top, or you put 3 positive emotions that you can easily remember. So I remember love, joyful, and merry. Okay? So you show that you've got all these positive emotions and all these negative emotions. Now all you're going to do is flip the positive emotions down and get a break underneath the top 3 cards, and then pick up the negative emotions, square them up for a second and put them down. Now what I've done is I've taken those 3 positive emotions that I remembered and stole them underneath this packet. Now I show the other positive emotions and I just put them down. I just put them over there. Okay. Now all you're going to do is you're going to take these negative emotions and you're going to use the deal that was first created by Paul Harris in Las Vegas Leaper. Now the idea is that you're going to show these cards one at a time and show there's 13, even though there's 16. So you're just going to pick up one, turn it over and put it underneath, then do the same with the second one, then do the same with the third one. You're going, actually, can you do these? I've done 3, you do the rest. That way you know that there's nothing weird going on. And because you've already done 3, if they see a reverse card at the bottom, it's not a problem, because they would expect to see one because you've done 3, and they will do the rest, and they will count the cards like this, and they will end up counting to 13. And you don't take the cards back at that point, they hold on to these 13 cards. So it's very fair. You just have to tell them to cut the cards. You say, great, you've got 13 cards, give the cards a cut and complete the cut. Now that will centralize those 3 positive emotions in the middle. They're holding on to them. And you talk about spreading positivity and sending positive vibes to people. Have you heard that expression, sending positive vibes? And you talk about sending, you know, merriment and joy and love. And then when you deal through these cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it'll only be 10 cards. And the reason is, there's now 16 here, and you count these cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then you say, hey, I told you you spread joy and merriment and happiness and love. And when you spread through, you've got the merry, you've got the joy, and you've got the love. So that's the first phase. Now the second phase, you put everything back and you spread the cards like this. So you've got all the positives and all the negatives. And what you do is you pick up and square up the negative emotions, and you have them take a positive emotion. So let's say they take, I don't know, kindness. And you put it here on top of the negative emotions face up. And all you do is you pick up all of these positive emotions and you hold them in your hand, and you pick up this packet, and I talked about this in the ambitious card routine, so I'm not going to talk about it again now, but in essence it's going to look like you pull this kindness card onto the other positive emotions. In actual fact, you're just switching the packets. This packet goes down in front of you. They think these are the negative emotions, they're the positive emotions. And they think that these are the positive emotions, they're negative except for kindness. So all you're going to do is you're going to shuffle this into the pack, and in reality you're just going to shuffle it to the bottom, and then you can do a milk shuffle to keep it at the bottom. Now, I went through this in detail in the ambitious card routine, so you can go look at that, because now you're going to do a Vernon transfer, and I explained this in that routine as well, so I'm not going to explain it now. But in essence, the bottom card, which is kindness, is going to be transferred onto this packet as you spread it out. The difference is, these cards, they think that this is all of the positive emotions. They think these are all positive emotions. I'm going to put these away. Now, I'm actually putting away all the negative emotions. So from the audience's point of view, they think that all I have here is positive emotions. They think all I've got here is negative emotions. I've actually got all the positive emotions. And they think that somewhere in this packet, shuffled into that packet, is the emotion they're thinking of, while in reality it's here, kindness. So you talk about transferring emotions and positive thoughts and so on and so forth, and then you show that you've got kindness here, and then you can pick up these cards and you can deal each one, and you can show that every single one of these has changed to a positive emotion, which is a wonderful way to end the routine, and it's great. And then you just put these away with the cards in your pocket, and then when you take them out, you reset, ready to do whatever routine you want with a shuffled deck of cards again. So there you go. It's a fun way of applying cards across to the Evoke deck. So anybody who knows my type of magic and have watched me do magic before or purchased any of my products, you'll know I'm kind of obsessed with any card at any number. The whole idea of having somebody pick a card, somebody pick a number, and having that card appear at that number. Using Evoke, you can do any card at any number, and it's the perfect example of taking a card routine and applying it to Evoke and completely changing the way it feels, the way it looks, the premise, and absolutely everything. So I'm going to perform this to Nemid behind the camera so you can see a studio performance of it, and I'll explain it. So I've got my friend Nemid behind the camera. He's doing the shoot here today for Murphy's. Nemid, I've got all these different motivational posters. Each one of them has got a different emotion on it. I want you to think of a time of your life when you're a child or a teenager, and I want you to think of a particular emotion that you felt at that time. Can you do that for me? You don't have to tell me why you felt that way or anything, but it's important you know the age, and it's important you know the emotion. Now, if you take these cards for me, what I want you to do is go through, they've all got different emotions on them, and find an emotion that you feel kind of sums up how you felt at that point in your life. Now, it might not be the exact emotion, but you're probably going to be able to find something that's close. When you've got it, let me know, and you can hold on to that, and you can give me the rest of the cards back. Well, you got it? Fantastic. And so now you have this emotion. You know how old you were when you felt that emotion. Is that right? Great. So do me a favor, just put it back somewhere, and it's important that you remember the emotion. Very good. And we'll mix it in, because it's really important that that emotion is mixed in there. Actually, you know what's really important is that you do it as well as me, because if I was the one shuffling the cards, maybe I could cheat. So can you just give the cards a bit of a mix up for me, give them a bit of a shuffle? That would be good, and put them into any random order, because this is kind of an experiment in coincidence right here. I'm not going to change the order, I'm going to leave them exactly as you put them. Now, Nemid, I don't want to know why you felt this way, but I said that you were a particular age. You know the age that you felt when you felt this emotion. How old were you, Nem?
14.
14. So I'm going to go through to the 14th card, and if you see your emotion that you're thinking of, could you tell me? Let's have a look. So number 1, for example, is patience. You weren't thinking of patience, were you? Number 2 is rage. Number 3 is vanity. Number 4 is indecision. Number 5 is fearless. Number 6 is confident. Number 7 is nervous. Number 8 is zest. Number 9 is outrage. Number 10 is xenophilia. Number 11 is hateful. Number 12 is grateful. Number 13 is anxiety. Did you see your emotion there?
No.
No. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And this is the 14th card right here. I'm going to put it down there. Now you could have thought of any emotion, you could have thought of any age, but you were 14, and this is the 14th card. You shuffled it into this position. What was the emotion you were thinking of?
Wonder.
Wonder. And that's what I have. So that's how it does not feel like any card at any number at all, and yet it is. And you're creating a really emotive relationship with you and the person you're performing for. It's very, very simple. All you're going to do is give them the cards and tell them to take out an emotion that they felt at a certain point in their childhood, or when they were a child or a teenager. Now, by saying child or teenager, it limits the number to 19. So let's say, and you say, take out the emotion, don't show me, just remember that emotion, and then give me the rest of the cards back. So let's say they say ecstatic. Okay, so they give you the rest of the cards back, and they're holding on to this emotion. You then say, we need to shuffle it into the pack, put it back for me. You spread out, and you're going to control it second from the top. So you spread out, and then you ask them to put the card back there, which they do. And notice the bottom card of the right-hand spread is kind of over to the left, side jog slightly. The reason is, you're going to put that card on top of their card, get a break above it, and now you can cut to the break, do a series of running cuts to the break, which brings their card, ecstatic, second from the top. I then shuffle the cards so that those two cards stay on top. So the card is still second from top. Now I keep shuffling them, and then at some point I kind of think, well, actually you need to shuffle these. And so I hand them the cards. Now as I do, I'm going to palm those top two cards off. So I'm just going to palm off the top two cards and give the cards to shuffle. And you probably noticed in the performance, I make a gesture like this. I say, shuffle the cards. This gesture makes my hands look natural. So I say, shuffle the cards, and then I can just bring my hands together like this. And nobody will think that I've got anything palmed in my hand. And then when I take the cards back, I'm just going to load these cards on top of here as I tilt upwards, because I don't want people to see that I'm putting something on the deck. So I put it on, tilt upwards, and give them a little riffle. And I jot them down. Now at this point, I then say, how old were you when this happened? Because I'm not going to change the order of the cards. How old were you when you felt this emotion? And let's say they say 9. You're going to pick the cards up and you're going to say, look, I'm going to go through to the 9th card. Tell me if you see your emotion. Now remember, the emotion is second from top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a break underneath the top two cards. So I've got a break here underneath their card. And I'm going to turn the top card over end for end, showing the top card. And I say, love, was that the emotion you thought of? And they say no. You pull that double card back. So I'm pulling back love and the card underneath it, which is their card. I'm pulling that back. And I say, 2, was your card upset? And they say no. Was your emotion at number 3? Was it merry? And they say no. And I keep going through 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I stop on the card before the number they named. So because I said 9, I've stopped on 8. So, and I say, this is the 9th card. Now all I'm going to do is push all of these cards that are in-jogged forward, and that's going to position their emotion into the 9th position. And I spread these off and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This one here is 9. Now, I could just do what I did with Nemec. I could just take it off, look at it, and say, what was your emotion? This is the 9th card. Recap. So, hey, you shuffled the cards, you changed the position. This is strange. I don't know, I didn't know the age or anything like that. I still don't know the emotion. This is the 9th card. You said you were 9 years old. What's the emotion? Ecstatic. Boom. Or you can do it like this. Because you can see what this emotion is. You can see as soon as you get to this position, I know that this emotion here is ecstatic because I can see it on the card. So I can take this card off and deal it onto their hand, deal it onto the table. And I can say, now, this is the 9th card, this is how old you are. I want you to seriously think of that emotion. Imagine that you feel that way now. Imagine you feel that way now. Yeah, I'm feeling a very positive emotion. It's a positive vibe, isn't it? You felt happy, but it's not happy. It's another way to say happy. Ecstatic. Were you ecstatic? And you've got this extra moment where you're telling them the emotion that they only thought of. And then you have this follow-up where you say, well, you know, this is the 9th card. You shuffled it into this position. Boom, ecstatic. So it's a really strong version of the any card at any number. Doesn't feel like an any card at any number. Now, one point is, when you get to the point where the card is second from the top, you could technically not shuffle the cards, not hand the cards out to be shuffled. You could just shuffle them and then just leave them and do the same thing. But I think it's weakened by doing that. I think that if you don't palm that card off, if you don't hand the cards out to be shuffled, then I think that it's very negative. I don't think it's as good as palming the cards off. I think you do need to palm those 2 cards and have them shuffle the cards, because then it becomes impossible because they shuffled it into position. But either way, if you like ACAN and you want to do something very, very different with it, this is called the Evoke ACAN, and it's one of my favorite routines on the project. So there you go, guys. We have reached the end of the Evoke project, and I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to every single person that picked this project up. I know it's long. I really, really understand that. However, I wanted to put as much information on here as I can, because I think of Evoke as a tool. I don't think of it as a one-trick pony. I don't think of it as something that you can do one trick with. I think of it as something that you can do dozens of routines with. You just have to think of the best way to use it for yourself. And I've given you a load of ideas. Pete Turner's given you a load of ideas. Peter Nardi has given you a load of ideas. It's now over to you. Now it's your chance to actually think about what you're going to do with this deck, and think about how you can routine it together and create a little act using nothing more than these motivational posters. Whatever you end up doing, honestly, I'm telling you right now, using motivational speaking, using the power of positivity, talking about positive affirmation, talking about mental health, in this day and age, it's something that a lot of people will relate to, and you can go as far into that or as as shallow into that as you want to. You can just use the Evoke deck to really strengthen the impact that revealing a name has. You can really kind of go, you're going to see one of the live performances where I performed to a girl in Birmingham outside a nightclub, and I had her think of a friend. I had her think of a friend and write the name of her friend down, and then think of an emotion that she thought of when she thought of her friend, and she thought of xenophobia or xenophobia. And obviously I knew that and she didn't. Well, now I'm not just revealing the name, I can reveal so much more information. I can say to her, hey, when you think of this person, you're thinking of quite a negative emotion, aren't you? And she went, yeah, and this is all because of something that happened. She was your friend at school. Now she's no longer your friend. You don't speak because of something that happened. And she was like, oh my gosh, yes. And this thing had a serious impact on you because you don't feel this way, but she did, and that's what drove you apart. And now, and I said, hey, she's a bit racist. Is that right? She's a bit racist. She was freaked out. I didn't even reveal the name, but I was able to reveal apparently stuff that happened in her life. And that was all because I knew the emotion that she attached to that person. So think about how you can use these cards, and think about how you can actually create the most impact out of using them. And that's why I say Evoke is a tool, and it's a tool that's going to allow you to strengthen your magic and mentalism routines and really take them to the next level. On behalf of Murphy's Magic, I want to say thank you so much for picking up Evoke, and on behalf of myself personally, I want to say thank you for everybody who's picked this up, and for everybody who's ever purchased another product of mine or never purchased another product of mine. I really appreciate it. I know you've got a lot of decisions, and I know you've got a lot of different ways that you can go with your purchasing decisions when it comes to magic. So the fact that you're sitting here listening to me, I really appreciate it. Unless, of course, you're watching a rip-off from a piracy website, in which case, screw you. But either way, Thank you so much, and I will see you again on another project. Do me one more thing, leave a review somewhere. I love reading reviews. When people leave reviews for my projects, it's absolutely amazing. If you bought it from a magic dealer, leave a review on there. If you are on the Magic Cafe, leave a review on there. If you've got a YouTube channel, leave a review on there. But either way, thank you so much for picking up Evoke, and I will see you again soon on another project. My name's Craig Petty, this is Murphy Magic, and you've been watching Evoke.